So the traffic gridlock in Lagos may get worse as the federal government is set to partially close down the third Mainland Bridge from this Friday, June 24th, for not one, not two, not three, but 6 months. According to Olukayode Popola, the federal controller of works in Lagos, we want to maintain our third Mainland Bridge, so they're going to begin maintenance works on it. Everything being expected for the repairs of the bridge arrived the country. That is why they must repair it now, according to him. Joining us on the show is the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederic Oladehinde. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Good to have you on the show today. Now, obviously, Third Mainland Bridge is obviously one of the main access we have to the island. What are the options available, especially considering the fact that many of these roads are immotorable?
Thank you for that very important question. There are about 10 options which we are making motorable. Even after yesterday, we went around the whole of Lagos to make sure that these roads are in good condition. So the first one is, for example, when you're coming from the island, so Kato Bridge will be available to you, Eko Bridge will be available to you. Apart from that, coming from Kato Bridge, you'll be able to access Ido all the way to Winigbo, and then to Murtala Mohammed Way, to Jibo, and then to Ikorodu Road, and then you can then access where you need to go. On the other side, which is the Eko Bridge, so coming from Kato Bridge, you can go to Ijora Lopa. You can then access Eko Bridge, Ojuelegba Bridge, Ikorodu Road, and then go to wherever you're going. But what is important is to mention that the Third Mainland Bridge is a partial closure, it's not a total closure. So on the 24th of July, the carriageway from the island, that is coming from Osborne, all the way to, that's Owuroshoki. And then, but those coming from the mainland all the way to the island will still have until 12 o'clock. So between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, we would allow the bridge to be clear, and then we then switch over so that those coming from the island going towards Owuroshoki and then to the mainland would now be able to access that section of the carriageway from 1 o'clock all the way to 12 midnight. So it's a partial closure and it's not a total closure.
Okay, so I've passed through the options, the Ido and trying to get into Jibo. And I understand that it's motorable. However, when people are coming in from the size of a Third Mainland Bridge, which is like will take 4 lanes at the same time, and you're now having to switch into where essentially it's like a 2-way drive all through, the narrowing of the road will lead to traffic congestion. That's undeniable. What are the plans made by the Ministry of Transportation in Lagos State to reduce the hardship that will be on Lagosians? Lagos already normally has a lot of traffic. So aside from this alternative, what are you doing, sir?
Okay, let me just correct you there. So for those going to the island, you will still have 4 lanes. We're not reducing it to 2 lanes. What we're saying is that those going on the less busy carriageway have to find alternative. So we're not reducing the number of lanes for the busy section, going to the island in the morning and then coming back in the evening. Apart from the 10 options, which are very, I mean, we rolled out yesterday, we also have water transport available, so we ramped up the number of vessels that goes from Ikorodu, as well as Ibaje, which is Bariga, to the island. Okay. We have also increased the number of buses that the Lagos Bus Services Limited would be operated. Only last week, the governor approved that LBSL can now use the BRT corridor. So we would use the BRT corridor along Ikorodu Road, which would be able to take people to the island as quickly as possible. And we're providing this option just to make sure that people can drop their cars and access public transport and then get to the island as quickly as possible. So public transport options are available. And if you want to drive your cars, obviously, Carter Bridge is available, Eco Bridge, and I just mentioned Murtala Mohammed Way. And then there are other options. I mean, if you understand Lagos very well, so taking Costain, connecting Laka Bridge, etc. So there are many options that are available to people to access the island.
So
And what we have done is to make all of them portable so that people can have options to take any of these routes.
All right. Based on experience, one of the things that can, usually alter traffic in someone's day is the cause of some accidents, falling tankers, falling containers on our major roads. I have failed to make it to the show several times because response to such accidents take a lot of time. So what plans do you have along the alternatives that you've mentioned now, such that if any of such were to happen, is we immediately removed and traffic can, people can resume traveling to their places on the island or off the island?
Let me add to that, because case in point, I think it was a couple of days last week, there was something that a tanker fell off at Kara Bridge, and then there was some kind of congestion in the Korodu Road. We were told that something happened. Was it Costain? Some kind of, there was issued an accident, and then there was a bad road. So when that's Lagos State for you. When those things happen in those three major points, it causes issues, gridlock. So what are you doing to ensure, to avert that?
Okay, first of all, we have put together a 600-man team, the task force team, to ensure that traffic moves around in Lagos. And LASMA has also embarked on buying some more tow trucks. We are also partnering with Lastema to put the tow trucks at strategic positions so that when we have tankers or containers on the road, we're able to move them as quickly as possible. We're also appealing to truck drivers not to come into Lagos at this point in time unless you have business in Lagos. So very soon we're going to be decongesting that Eco Bridge, that section that goes to Apapa, making sure that tankers do not park on the road, and so that we can clean up that road and clear it as soon as possible. We started that process yesterday. We are discussing with MPA, discussing with the union of the tanker drivers to make sure that they cooperate with Lagos State, especially within the six-month period that we need the road to be cleared. So there's a lot of things that we're putting in place to make sure that we are able to attend to accidents as quickly as possible, and then make sure that unless you have business in Lagos, you have no business coming into Lagos with your truck.
So the Apapa-Oworo-Shoki Expressway could also be an alternative, but it's presently under construction. So you get to certain areas of that road and you have to, deviate. So this morning, fortunately, compared to June 2nd when I was on the show last, they've constructed all the way to Anthony. And, I had to veer off back into Ikorodu Road. How quick can they complete that road? Because, it will be a major relief to people using that maybe as an alternative to get to the island through Ikorodu Road.
Well, there are quite a number of construction going on in Lagos right now, and it's just unfortunate that the Eco Bridge, I'll come to the Apapa Bridge, Eco Bridge is just one of them. But federal government, they're putting everything, they're doing everything possible to ensure that they can wrap up the Apapa Oworo-Shoki Bridge. I think one section of it was opened this morning, which allowed traffic to flow freely, but we want to finish that. And I believe that Anthony section will be finished very soon. Okay. So we want to, that's a priority for us to finish so that we can release traffic onto the other carriageways, etc. Also, just to mention, I know you mentioned that also that Eco Bridge is shut down, some part of it is shut down. The contractor moved to site. We were there yesterday, and within 2 months, maximum 2.5 months, they will finish that section. So that section will be on before we complete the 3 months of one side, Third Mainland Bridge, before we move to the other side of Third Mainland Bridge. So we're doing everything possible to ensure that all the construction works are wrapped up.
Okay, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we still have the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederic Oladehinde. Dr. had a question.
Yes. So when the news broke on Twitter, people were now asking that how come we're having the repairs done now when we had lockdown for a period of time and this didn't take place during the lockdown? Now, I got the answer from Lagos State, but I want you to repeat the answer so that those that are watching the show now who probably have that same mindset that why did Lagos State not fix this third mainland bridge during the lockdown where there was no traffic on the road? Can you please tell them why you're just fixing it now?
Okay, that's a very interesting question that keeps coming back. So when we had COVID, nobody understood, the guidelines around COVID. And also remember that the people that we're sending to the field to fix the road are also human beings. So we needed to understand the evolution of COVID and then how we then structure the guidelines around that. So it was important to keep everybody aware because our number one priority is to make sure that everybody is safe and that we do not lose anybody. So we do not want to lose anybody at the expense of, not trying to understand how COVID would evolve and then just risking people's life. So we needed to understand, develop guidelines around COVID before we send people out. And also there was an instruction from the federal government also alluding to the fact that we needed to understand that and then we then draft a guideline around that before we put people out there. And then secondly, let's understand that lockdown period was only a month. This maintenance is about 6 months. So irrespective, we will have still gone past and people will have still been affected.
All right, let me ask this question. One will expect that because of these 6 months maintenance that is about to be carried out, you would want the Nigerians to use public transportation instead of putting their cars on the road. But our worry of taking public transportation is the fact that we're not even sure of the congestion when you get to the bus stops. How is it safe with the COVID out there? Are there wash hand stations? Are there places? Do I feel comfortable taking the public transportation? How many buses are actually out there? Do we still have buses at the ports? So what has your commission done to ensure, your ministry done to ensure that we have enough buses and the buses are safe for those of us that drive cars to use this public transportation?
Thank you for that question. So what we have done, and that's why we're going through what we call the bus reform program, where we're trying to bring in, luxurious buses that are comfortable, buses that have air conditions, etc., which is spacious for people to sit. And you will see that LPSL has, they've deployed about 200. The Lagos State government has just released about 550, which will be deployed very soon. So apart from that, we are also implementing what we call the intelligent transport system. So there's a timetable where you know when the next bus is going to come. Now, in terms of congestion, etc., this is where I need to let the people, we need to talk to our people and talk to ourselves. If you do not have any business being out there, you need to stay at home. You will notice that this is still a partial lockdown. Not everybody has gone back to work. And this is intentional, just to make sure that we can control the amount of people that are outside. And so if people simply do what they have to do and do not go out unless they have to go out, we'll be able to manage the crowd. But in terms of managing what is out there, we're providing bus shelters, the IT system is in place, and we're providing more buses. Even when you go to our water transport station, you will see that the terminals are even more, their waiting areas, etc., just to make public transport more affordable and more attractive to people.
Okay, that's good news, but there's still a lot of areas where these buses have not even been, people can't even imagine what they look like because they don't see them. And I'm speaking for the Badagry Expressway axis of town now. What you see in the buses is that the buses are packed full, and people usually don't wear their face mask under this condition that we're in now. What are you doing to enforce on the side of the commercial operators, the commercial bus operators, to ensure that they conform with the rules on ground? Because if you're taking people will come in, and most people, of course, we need to enforce on people's side. But the commercial drivers, what are you doing? Partnering with the NURT, and and I'm aware, because I have investigated personally, that the NURT is aware of these operations of their people.
Yeah, that's correct. So we had a stakeholder meeting with NURTW. We also had stakeholder meetings with other operators. And so we have a task force team out there, which comprises of NASMA, VIO, we have FRC that join on the major expressways, and then we have the park monitoring committee that go around ensuring that people wear face masks. There's sanitizers, temperature reader, as well as wash hand basins in all motor parks. You will see that we're beginning to deploy those in most of our motor parks right now, and so we'll continue to enforce. We've arrested a lot of people, but you know, when you arrest these people, they come back and say, well, government is not being fair, etc. But we will continue to do what we have to do. So we have all these enforcement agents going around ensuring that people wear face masks and then people keep to, high hygiene standard. And one thing, let me just mention this. It's also important to mention that people have to take personal responsibility for safety. So it's not just enough for government to be enforcing, but people ought to know that they have to keep themselves safe. So they have to, when they're going out, they have to ensure that they have their face mask. They have to ensure that they have their sanitizers, right, etc. So I think it goes both ways. In
your conversation with the stakeholders, did you discuss issues of fares? Because many of these will take opportunities like these to increase the transportation fares, and people will have it difficult to pay the high fees that might be charging during this period.
Yes, we did. But you see, this is where you have to make the hard decisions. So we've reduced the capacity of all buses, so they're taking about 60% capacity, etc. So in some cases, someone has to pay for the difference. In as much as we try to ensure that they don't increase the fares just around Lagos, it has become necessary to increase in some areas, and that's the job cover for that little shortfall. But I mean, we have our regulators working with the operators in such a way that even if there's any increase, that increase is still affordable. So I think we have to bite the bullet and say it's either we have a service that moves people around, or we don't have a service at all because the operator might go bust, etc. So we have to balance the situation.
Okay. May I implore, sir, that special focus is placed on the commercial operators at the trade fair market in Amodofi. Thank you, sir.
Sure, I'll take it on board.
All right, that's all we can take. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning. And we'll probably still call you back, because this is Lagos. We might have to bring you back sometime early next week, because after the Friday shutdown, we can be almost certain of serious congestion. So we'll see, we'll notice how it is, and we'll have to call you back maybe midweek next week to help us see what other updates you might have for us. Thank you very much, sir.
We'll make sure there's no congestion.
Okay, all right. We'll be speaking with the Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederic Oladehinde. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
You can watch Your View on TVC every Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Nigerian time on DSTV channel 418, GOTV channel 27 and channel 47, StarTimes channel 121 and channel 307, Play TV channel 801 and channel 190, UHF 49, Sky channel 515 for UK viewers. Watch live on Facebook at TVC Connect and on our website tvcentertainment.tv/livestream.